Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to day 7 of my sneak peek Sale-A-Bration products. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds for everyone to join me. And I am actually, I thought I lost something, I didn't. So before I get started, Sale-A-Bration and the mini catalog are both going live tomorrow. So just a refresher in case you're just joining me for the first time. Sale-A-Bration is a time of year, once a year, where Stampin' Up! Awards you with free products. And we have level 1 and level 2 products. Level 1, you get to pick anything that for a $50 order that has level 1. There's a little circle that has level 1 or level 2. Level 2 is for $100 orders. So make sure you look through the catalog if you have it. If not, it'll be online tomorrow. So it'll be live for you to check out online. If you're not working with another demonstrator and you need catalogs and you're from the US, please let me know. Okay, so let's get started. I can see you guys all coming on. So I have one more night. Tomorrow's going to be day 8. I'm going to show you later what I'm going to be using. So I've done a total of 7 videos with tonight. And tonight I'm using Thoughtful Blooms and the Coordinating Punch. So let me get set up for card number 1. I'm going to flip it over so you can't see it just yet. And the ink colors I'm using on this one are Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue, Pretty Peacock, and Old Olive. Now I'm just going to show you the inside of my case. I'm pretty much almost using all of the stamps tonight. I just have a few more there that I haven't used. For cardstock layers, I'm using Calypso Coral 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5. I also want to thank everyone that's been with me all 7 nights so far. I hope you guys have enjoyed all of my videos. Layer 2 is the gingham pattern from the In Colors paper pack, and this measures 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, and then I'm going to show you the card. So again, I am copying 3 projects from the catalog. So when you guys get your new products, if you want to copy some of the cards from the catalog that I also did, my videos will always be on my Facebook page, so you guys can view them anytime. Okay, this is the first card. So I'm going to do a lot of stamping in the background. I just need to grab this punch that I forget to grab. So this is the Everyday Label Punch. And then I'm also using the Pretty Peacock In Color Scalloped Linen Ribbon. And what I did with the ribbon, I went ahead and cut a piece that measures 16 inches long. And I cut one end already to make it just a little skinny scallop strip. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I also am using the 1/2 inch circle punch. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment first. And that's on Whisper White. I love the wording in this sentiment. It says, "I'm always amazed, but never surprised by your thoughtfulness." Isn't that nice? So I'm going to go ahead and cut that with the Everyday Label Punch. So that's all set. And now we're going to work on the background layer. So let me go ahead and bring all of the ink pads in. Get some pretty colors to work with. Oh, I see some people from Canada tonight. Welcome. Okay, so what I'm going to start out with, I have all of these little stamps here. There's such an assortment of stamps you can use. I'm going to start out by stamping my flowers. So I'm going to do 3 using Balmy Blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the little branch image using Old Olive. And it's kind of neat that we have the little berries that you can stamp on here also. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do with the little branch. Now I'm going to do the berries with the Calypso Coral. And these are really quite easy to add on there. You really can't mess up. As long as you can see the little branch. Whoops, I did the balmy blue. Hold on, I got to clean my stamp. As long as you see the branch in where your stamp is, you can pretty much connect the dots. Really simple. Okay, there's that. Next, I have the little leaf image. Now, let me turn this back the way, okay, no, how did I have that? This way. I'm trying to match this one as much as I can. It's not going to be the exact same. So now I'm just adding some leaves. And let's see, I'm going to add, I added 2 branches here. So let's add a leaf right there. Next is this cute little flower. Now let me move my ink pads down. I'm using Pretty Peacock. And all I'm going to do is fill in around everything just to add a little bit of interest with some flowers. And one stamp that I forget to dig out is the center of the larger flower. So let me go ahead and clean this one. I'm going to peel that one off. I'm actually going to stick it right to my iPad so I don't lose it. So if I tell you I lost a stamp, you guys all know where it is, so you can tell me where it is, right? Now this fits right in the center of the flower. Very simple. You can see how pretty that is. I'm just going to do 3 of those. Now I am going to bring in a ruler. I'm going to flip this to the back side. I'm just going to go the width of my ruler and add 2 pencil marks, 1 on each end. Nobody will know that's there. I'm going to bring in the 1/2-inch circle punch and just make 2 notches, 1 on each side. Okay. Now this is where I cut off the scallop on the ribbon. So let me get my ribbon again. So you can see here, when you look at the ribbon, there's Pretty Peacock scallops on both sides of the center. So I've already cut half of it off for card number 1. So now I'm going to go ahead and snip for card number 2. And I only have 16 inches. You guys need to watch. It's not too bad. Be very careful. You know, this is how I cut myself quite often because I'm going towards my fingers, especially with the paper snips. I've been known to cut a little V in my finger. So just be careful when you're doing this. My husband usually does not let me use any sharp knives because I'm so dangerous with cutting mechanisms. Okay, I'm almost done. There's the last of it. So there's my little scallop strip. You can see how cute that is when I hold it up against the white. So now I'm going to wrap it around this piece. And I'm going to create a bow on the right-hand side. Let me see, I need to leave a little bit more there. So it's just to show you how you can even alter the ribbon. And this was not the same ribbon that they used in the brochure. This is something I'm doing on my own. Or actually, no, I take that back. I think they used a different color. I wish I could show you what's inside the catalog. Tomorrow I'll be able to. Okay, so now I'm just going to make that go all the way to the end. And I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals so I can glue this to the card front. So Glenda is asking if the ribbon frays. What I found is once you have it on there, there's just going to be some little pieces that you, like this one right here, I just actually yanked that off, and other than that, it really doesn't fray that bad. Okay, let me bring my pieces back in. You know what? I'm gonna move these ink pads because I can see what is just an accident waiting to happen. Okay, I've moved those over. I did that a few videos ago, a couple weeks ago. I was almost done with one of my cards and I dropped the whole thing right in my ink pad. Right on live video. It was quite embarrassing. Okay, now this is gonna go centered. And we're gonna use more dimensionals to glue the sentiment in place. Now I'm gonna try it so that the ribbon is gonna be placed right here so that the dimensionals don't get all wonky over the ribbon. So you can see that fits right there. And then lastly on this card, I'm going to bring in the new champagne rhinestones. I've already used one whole sheet. This is what I have left from one whole sheet. So there's a big one, one little one, and we're gonna do one more big one right here. So there's card number 1, and you could do any color on this and change the color of the flowers. I mean, you can go even as busy as you want on the background, but I felt that this was enough because I'm not a busy kind of person when it comes to creating my cards. Okay, now let me get set up for card number 2. I am going to be using the heat tool. So white embossing powder, Versamark, and the embossing buddy. Here's card number 2. And let me show you what I'm using. So I'm using Smoky Slate. Oh, and I didn't score this one. Let me bring my score tool. So again, this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then I have 2 pieces of the Pretty Peacock. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And this one is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And then a scrap piece of Calypso Coral. Our in color faceted gems, and I'm using the one color. And then the stitch nested labels dies. This one is 3 1/8 inches long. So let me show you the card that I'm making for this one. Now this one uses mostly just this little border image, and I'm actually going to emboss that. So let me move all of these aside. I'm going to use the Versamark ink. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy first. And to repeat from last night when I did embossing, this is to remove any static or any greasy fingerprints. And I'm going to, you could use your Stamparatus for this. I'm just going to freehand. Hopefully it won't come out crooked. So I'm just going to keep going vertically. So you could put these a little bit closer to each other if you want to. And I've got what? I've got 6 times. So I've stamped this 6 times. Now I'm going to add the powder, the white embossing powder. This is just a great way to use that border stamp. Now I'm going to make a little bit of noise with the heat tool. I was closing the lid on my embossing powder because I know that I've made a mess with that before. I wanted to make sure that it was tucked away. So this card is pretty simple. A little bit of stamping, using the embossing powder. Now you can see how that's turning darker as it melts. Okay, halfway there. And then pretty much all I've got left to do is to do the sentiment, and then we'll glue everything together. So let's bring in, oh, let me give you a close-up of that. Isn't that pretty? It really stands out because it's white embossed. So much shiny, it's really shiny and just raised a little bit, and it just looks great. Okay, now I'm gonna bring in the scrap piece of Calypso Coral. I'm gonna stamp the sentiment. And I'm actually only using the Big Shot once tonight, and it's to cut out the sentiment. So let me go ahead and position that. Okay, so our sentiment's all cut. Now the only other thing I did not bring in yet that I'm using on this card, let me bring the card back in. You can see this braided ribbon. This is new ribbon that's going to be available in the mini catalog tomorrow, and it's called Braided Burlap Trim. And all I did was cut a piece that is 8 inches long. Now let me see if I can bring that up close so you guys can see it. What's great about this, what I did here, I actually took the ends and I just split them a little bit to make the ends a little bit wider and messier. Same thing on this end. So when you use this, you could actually do that to the whole strip if you wanted to. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue everything in place. So this is the Pretty Peacock layer, and it goes on the Smoky Slate card base. The second layer, the embossed layer of Pretty Peacock, is actually going to be glued with dimensionals. I can never seem to do a card without dimensionals. I just like the height, and I know a lot of you guys made the comment yesterday that you like height on your cards also. That's going to go in the center. Now what I did to hold that ribbon in place, I took a couple of pieces of tear and tape because I really want a strong hold on the ribbon. I'm just going to go ahead and peel the backing. And I can't remember, I think I told you, but this is 8 inches long in case I did miss that. I'm just going to go ahead and put it so it's overlapping a little bit there. Press that in place and then turn and make a loop. Just like that. And then what I did here, because there's a lot of bulk with the ribbon, I'm only going to put a dimensional in this corner and this corner, because the height of the ribbon is actually going to hold that up. So this is going to go right here. And then lastly, we're going to add some bling. So we're going to add the In Color Faceted Gems. This is the Pretty Peacock color. And then I'm going to add 2 down here. And that's card number 2. So this one is came together rather quickly. So now let's go ahead and move to card number 3. Boy, we're really coasting along here. Card number 3. Now let me see. I got to see what stamps I'm using. Okay, I got the little flower. Oh, the little flower is actually Remember, I stuck it on my iPad. I'm going to show you this in a minute. So I've got that. I've got a leaf. I've got the big flower. And let me grab a piece of Whisper White. And then I'm going to flip the card over and show you because I need to bring in the ink pads that I'm using. So this is card number 3. I'm actually using the punch on this one. And you can actually fluff up the flowers if you want to. They are glued in place with a mini dimensional. But isn't that pretty with the raised flowers? So what I'm using on this one, and I again didn't score my cardstock, 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2. I'm gonna fold that over, and then where is my white piece? Did I forget to cut a white piece? I did. I forgot to cut a white piece. Okay, let me measure this. I'm quickly going to cut that. And it's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So I'm going to use my little trimmer. And no, I didn't do this on purpose just so I could show off my trimmer. I actually did forget. Now, 4 1/2, so that's 4 1/4. I'm just gonna eyeball 4 1/2. And I'm also using, you can tell I'm disorganized tonight. I had so much going on today. I've been getting ready for my Christmas club participants. And then I'm also using the Call Me Clover grosgrain ribbon. So now let's go ahead and I'm going to actually fill the background. And the colors I'm using for this one are Mango Melody, Flirty Flamingo, Call Me Clover, and Granny Apple. So let's start out with the Flirty Flamingo. And I'm just going to clean off my stamp. I couldn't remember if I did or not. And now I'm just going to go crazy. Actually, I need to start with this image. This is the image. It's a large leaf image. And you kind of build your flowers around it. So what I did is I stamped this on here 3 times. So you can see where the flowers will connect. Okay, so now I'm going to add my flowers. And as you can see, you wouldn't want to keep the flowers flat because the green kind of runs all over it. It's just a big mess. So that's why I preferred to do the raised flowers on this one. So I'm just filling in. Let's see, we'll do one more right here. So now I need to count how many flowers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are a little too small. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp 8 of these on a scrap of Whisper White. Now, whenever you're doing flowers, make sure you see what the direction of your punch is because of how you're going to insert the paper. So this one, you want the legs, the 2 legs at the bottom. So we're going to do 8 of these. There's 6, 7, and 8. Now I'm going to trim them all with my punch. And you know, I think there was 2 or 3 more samples in the catalog that are awesome to copy. I just didn't do all of them. I chose to do these 3 tonight. There's one that had white flowers on a white background. That was beautiful. Okay, so there's my 8 flowers. So now what I'm going to do is add the mini dimensionals to each one. So this one is a little bit more time consuming because of the punched out flowers. Whoops, I got 2 on that one. Let's see, Rebecca, Debbie, the additional dies and designer paper will be available for, yes, you can order those tomorrow. So we have some additional products coming for customers. It'll be in February, but for demonstrators, we get to order tomorrow. And it's some dies that are going to go with some of the Sale-A-Bration sets. So it's pretty exciting. Okay, now all I'm going to do is add some of this little flower image just to fill in the background. So you can see that this background is a lot more busier than the first one that I did. But aren't the colors pretty together? That Mango Melody really looks great with the Flirty Flamingo and the Call Me Clover. And then lastly, we're gonna do just a few leaves with the Granny Apple. And all I did is add a couple leaves to some of the flowers, just to fill in some more of that background. And even if you get that right on the Flirty Flamingo, we're going to cover that with the second layer of flower anyway. Let's see, I just need a few more. And let's add one here. Okay, I'm going to call that good. Now I'm going to wrap the ribbon around first. This time I'm going to tie it a bow to the right side of the cardstock. And again, I do not cut my ribbon ahead of time when I'm tying to my cardstock. I cut the ribbon after I'm done tying my bow. That way I don't waste any. Now I just need to make these a little smaller. My bow is kind of going upside down. Let me see if I can correct that. I think it's all right. And let's see, let's go ahead and stamp the congratulations. And I think I forgot to dig that one out too. Let me grab another clear block. So this one says congratulations. We're going to do that with the Call Me Clover on the soft sea foam. And then I'm going to cut that out with the classic label punch. There, I think we're done. We just need to put everything together. I just need to find my dimensionals. Let me grab another sheet because it's buried somewhere. I am going to do a lot on this little piece only because we have the other flowers that are going to be pressed down when I push them down and glue them in place. Whoops. Oh, Carol is saying the flowers will help with the cold gray winter. I agree. We actually got over a foot of snow 2 days ago. So it kind of warmed things up a little bit. Okay, now I'm just going to move my ribbon way to the right. Glue this in place. Now we need to add all of these flowers. And I just goofed. I shouldn't have glued my panel on just yet because I need to trim the flowers that are going to overhang, but that's okay. I can still do it. It looks kind of funky if you leave them sticking out there. Now let's glue the sentiment in place before I add the flowers on the bottom. And that's going to go right below the ribbon. And that way we can add this flower right on top. So which card is your favorite out of the three? Of course, some of you guys probably tuned in late, so you didn't see the first one that I did. I kind of like, I think I like the first one. I like this one too, but it's just busier. I'm not a super busy person when I create. Let's see, I'm gonna tuck this one in here somehow. I'm gonna trim it and then I can push that ribbon back. So now we just need to trim these petals even with the cardstock. Let's see, we got one more. And now I can bring that ribbon over this flower. And lastly, we need bling, right? We can't go without adding bling to the center of each flower. So I'm going to bring these champagne rhinestones back in. I'm going to use the tiniest one and add to the center of each flower. I love the color, the champagne. It's a really subtle, and it pretty much goes with anything. Okay, there we go. So there's card number 3. So you guys can let me know which one is your favorite. Let me bring them all back in. So this was number 3. Number 2 with the white embossing. And then number 1. And the stamp set. So you guys can start earning this stamp set tomorrow with a $100 order along with the little coordinating punch. Now tomorrow, let me grab, I'm going to actually be featuring, we have 2 packs of designer paper in the catalog, in the Sale-A-Bration catalog this year. So the first one is called Lily Impressions, and the second one is called, Golden Honey. So I'm going to be featuring both of these designer papers tomorrow. So join me for day 8 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks so much for visiting with me today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Good night, everyone.